Hey guys, it's Marshall Mathers the Fourth here, back to you today with another video. And in today's video, this will be a video today about the fact that I really wish and do believe that Eminem should have released a Slim Shady LP3 album on May 11 in the year 2001 when he would have been 28 years old. And this is the exact reason that I wish and do believe that Eminem should have became famous a little bit younger than he actually did. Not only because of the fact that if he had became famous a little bit younger, as young as I wish he would have became famous, then he probably would have made and released 3 Slim Shady LP albums to make a Slim Shady LP album trilogy. I mean, at least that's what I would have hoped that he would have done if he would have became famous a little bit younger than he actually did, which I believe he should have. But also, the reason I also wish and do believe that he should have became famous a little bit younger is so that he could have released more albums in his youth, which was the time in his entire rap career where he was the best. And there's no denying that. When he was in his youth, as in his 20s, that was the time period in his entire rap career that he was in his prime, that he was just his best at, that he was the greatest in that time period. And that's usually the case when it even comes to most rappers, whether they're from the old school or new school era of rap. Most rappers are just the best and greatest, whether they're a male or female rapper, when they're in their 20s and sometimes when they're in their early 30s, but mainly when they're in their 20s. And if Eminem had became famous a little bit younger than he actually did, like I really wish he would have, and that I believe he should have, myself at least personally, he would have released more albums in his 20s. He would have released more albums in his youth. And that would have made me really happy because, I mean, let's face the facts here. He didn't release that many rap albums in his youth. I'm sorry, I'm clearing my throat a lot. There's just something in my throat, like a tickle. So just please bear with me. But yeah, I mean, he didn't release that many albums as he possibly could have when he was in his 20s. Like, I find it really unfortunate that he released his Slim Shady LP album on February 26 at the age of 26 years old in the year 1999. And then he released his Marshall Mathers LP album on May 23 in the year 2000 at the age of 27. But then in 2001 at the age of 28, or when he would have been 28, he released no solo album that year. And then in 2002, on May 26 of 2002, at the age of 29, he released his Eminem Show album. And then in 2003, where he would have been 30 years old for most of that year, he didn't release any solo album. Hell, even in early 2004, when he would have been 31 years old, and he would have been 31 for most of 2004, he didn't release an album at the age of 31. He didn't release his encore album until November 12 of 2004, after he turned 32. And so he only released 4 albums in his youth and also his Slim Shady era, where he had his blonde hair, which to me personally, that was my all-time favorite Eminem era, is when he had his blonde hair. Or I mean, I guess you could call that his Slim Shady era. And he only released 4 albums. 4. When he was in that era of his. Just 4 albums. His Slim Shady LP album, his Marshall Mathers LP album, his Eminem Show album, and his Encore album. That's it. That's all. Just 4. And, you know, the fucked up thing is that he could have released at least 5 albums. Like, I mean, I would have at least been happy, fine, content, and at peace with if Eminem had chose to release his Slim Shady LP album on January 1, 1999 at the very latest, and no later than that. I mean, I just cannot believe that Eminem at the very fucking least, didn't think to release his Slim Shady LP album at the very latest on January 1 of 1999, or at the very beginning of that year. But not just that, but also have made and released a deluxe edition of that album of his, at least including like the unmastered versions or sequences of his songs Low Down Dirty, No One's Other Than Me featuring D12, and Murder Murder, which would have been better than not having any versions of those songs on his Slim Shady LP album at all, but also have other Slim Shady LP era throwaway songs such as Till Hell Freezes Over, a finished completed version of Ghost Stories, Take the World With Me featuring Pace One, and Bizarre. I mean, that would have brought at least a deluxe edition of his Slim Shady LP album at the very latest, released on January 1 of 1999. It would have brought it to a 6-track deluxe edition or version of that album of his, which would have been very epic. That would have been extremely dope. And it would have been so considerate and so generous and so thoughtful of him if he would have done exactly that. And again, I would have at least been happy, fine, content, and at peace with if, like I said, if Eminem at the very latest had at the very least, chose to release his Slim Shady LP album on January 1 of 1999 and no later than that. Not even one day later. On January 1 of 1999. Because of when he released his underground projects, like his Infinite album, which he unfortunately released at the age of 24, and his Slim Shady EP, which unfortunately he released at the age of 25 in 1997. So, at the very latest, that I really do believe that he should have released his Slim Shady LP album should have been on January 1 of 1999 at the age of 26. And release a 6-track deluxe edition, including at least the unmastered versions and sequences of his songs Low Down Dirty, No One's Other Than Me featuring D12, Murder Murder, Till Hell Freezes Over, a finished completed version of Ghost Stories, and Take the World With Me featuring Pace One and Bizarre. I mean, that again would have just been so considerate, so generous, and so thoughtful of him if he would have done that. And then on January 23 in the year 2000, at the age of 27, release his Marshall Mathers LP album, including the throwaway, scrapped, or unreleased Marshall Mathers LP era songs being Mom, which would have included a Mom skit, Dear Ronnie, and have Ronnie's family have agreed to let Eminem put that song on that album of his, like they really should have done, and not been such dicks and threatened to sue Eminem if he would have done that. And then also release a 3-track deluxe edition for his Marshall Mathers LP album, including the songs Our House featuring Fred Durst, The Kids, and another unreleased Marshall Mathers LP era Eminem song titled Angry Blonde. And then he could have done something like released a Slim Shady LP3 album in 2001 at the age of 28, like on I don't know, like May or June of 2001, May or June of 2001, at the age of 28 years old, and release a at least 20-track album for a Slim Shady LP3 album, and then a 3-track deluxe edition, and then release his Eminem Show album on March March 25 in the year 2002 at the age of 29 years old, and then release a 3-track deluxe edition including the songs Stimulate, which is an unreleased throwaway Eminem Show era song or track, in other words, and then Can I Bitch, which is a cannabis diss rap song, and then Nail in the Coffin, which is a Benzino rap diss song, which would have been 3 perfect songs to add to an already great Eminem album, being the Eminem Show, and then have released his encore album on July 8 in the year 2003 at the age of 30. And then instead of having an audience on the cover like he did, which is so very unfortunate, not have an audience, not include one, not even think of including one, and never have released such awful garbage songs like Puke, Rain Man, and Big Weenie, and instead, well, actually, no. If Eminem didn't become famous younger, I wouldn't have even wanted him to release an encore album in the year 2003 at the age of 30. Instead, I think it would have been much better if he had released a Slim Shady LP3 album in the year 2003 at the age of 30 years old. So on July 8 of 2003, at the young age of 30, so not 31, not 32, but just at the age of 30 years old, on July 8, 2003, release a Slim Shady LP3 album. And why I think that would have been way better than releasing an encore album is because Eminem only has 3 personas, 3 images that he uses for his rap albums, or for his famous personalities or famous personas, famous images of himself. And the only ones that are of course his Slim Shady alter ego persona image for his Slim Shady LP album, his Marshall Mathers persona image for his Marshall Mathers LP album, and his Eminem persona image for his Eminem Show album. So knowing that he only has 3 personas, 3 images that he could use to make albums about, it would have just been the best for him to have made 3 Slim Shady LP albums to make and complete a Slim Shady LP album trilogy. And, he would have had more great albums if that would have happened, and if that would have been the case in the reality of things. Because if he had never released Encore, then he wouldn't have had a bad album. He would have had at least 5 great, fantastic albums in his early rap career, in his youth, during the time where he would have been in his blonde-haired, Slim Shady era of his rap career, which would have just been incredible and out of this world. And it's so unfortunate that at least that didn't happen, which I would have at least been fine, content, at peace, and happy with that, but not even that happened. But anyways, I'm kind of getting a little bit off topic in this video. I mean, still, that has to do with this video somewhat, but this video is mainly about the fact that if Eminem had became famous as young as I wish he would have and do believe he should have, I would have wanted Eminem to have released a Slim Shady LP3 album, like I said very early on in this video, at the age of just 28 years old on exactly May 11 in the year 2001. And the reason why releasing a Slim Shady LP3 album would have been great, obviously after releasing a Slim Shady LP2 album that I really wish and do believe he should have released on November 13 in the year 1999 at the age of 26 years old. And that's only if, of course, if he became famous a little bit younger and then was able to release his first Slim Shady LP album on February 1, 1998 at the age of 25, like I really wish would have happened. But anyways, if that would have happened, then obviously it would have made the most logical sense to release a Slim Shady LP3 album to complete and finish the Slim Shady LP album trilogy, if you will, and release the third one on when I personally would have wanted him to, being on May 11 in the year 2001 at the age of 28 years old, and have a 20 track album, like a track list of 20 tracks, which would obviously include skits, and at least a 3-track or 3-song deluxe edition version of his Slim Shady LP3 album. And for the cover art for a Slim Shady LP3 album, I could easily picture or imagine or vision a Slim Shady LP3 album cover art being something like, have Eminem's old car parked in some creepy looking woods in the middle of nowhere, but have him sitting inside of his car so you wouldn't see him, but the back trunk would be open, revealing like the dead woman in the back, which we would probably see more of, like the legs, the arms, maybe even the head dangling out, and then have a moon, and then maybe have stars and some clouds, and then have maybe some pinkish purplish fog even kind of on the ground, or mist, something like that, and have the color, of course, be like this funky pinkish purplish color. And that's what I would have imagined, pictured, or visioned a Slim Shady LP3 album cover art looking like if one would have been made and released. And I mean, I'm just pissed that none of this happened. I really am just so pissed that Eminem didn't become famous younger, because, you know, it's not like I am saying that I wish Eminem became famous way younger than he actually did, because I don't. Honestly, I don't. I don't even think he should have became famous way younger than he actually did. But I do believe that he should have at least became famous a little bit younger than he actually did, because that would have just been more fair for him, more just for him, because most rappers get to become famous in their late teens and release their first albums when they're in their late teens and early 20s. Like, it's just unfair and unjust that Eminem didn't get to release his first album until he was in his late 20s at the age of 26 in the year 1999, which in my opinion is bullshit, and I hate that. I hate that it took him that long to release his Slim Shady LP album. It pisses me the fuck off. It may not piss any of you off, but it pisses me off. And you know, you all can troll me all you want, you can make fun of me all you want, but none of you, and I mean none of you, will ever convince me otherwise. None of you are ever going to change my mind about this. No matter how many times you troll me or how many times you make fun of me, but by all means, be my guest. Troll me all you want. Harass me all you want. Bully me all you want. Make fun of me all you want, because you are never, ever going to change my mind on anything that I believe. And you're never going to convince me otherwise about these sort of things. So you're honestly wasting your time and effort by trolling me, harassing me, mocking me, and making fun of me, or being so confused as to why I wish and do believe that Eminem should have became famous a little bit younger, and why I wish and do believe he should have released all of his rap albums earlier than he actually did. Because this is my opinion, and I have the right to share it, regardless if you agree with me or not. Because these are my opinions, and I'm just choosing to share them with the world. And you know what? Just as I'm entitled to my opinions, you're all entitled to your own opinions. And if you don't agree with me, that is totally fine and okay, because those are your opinions and you're entitled to them. By all means, you're entitled to whatever you think or believe about what I think and believe. And again, if you disagree with me, that's cool. That's great. I'm happy for you. But these are my opinions, and I'm just choosing to share them because I want people to understand, or even at least see, what I believe about the way things happened, about the way things went. And I want to at least try to find people who do agree with me, because that would be a miracle. That would be a dream come true, to find as many possible people out there who actually agree with what I say in my videos. That would mean the world to me. That would mean so much to me if I was even able to find a small, tiny amount of people who agree with me and who believe what I believe. Because there's usually not that many people, or none at all, who agree with me or believe what I believe. But I still make these videos anyways in hopes to find those people. And, you know, that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. And, you know, that's pretty much all I wanted to say in today's video. Let me know what you all think in the comment section down below. I'm out.